In this video, we're gonna get to know me, a San Diego native born and raised here, where I went to school in Mira Mesa and what it was like growing up in Mira Mesa. And I wanna take you through a walk down memory lane, basically, through preschool all the way to high school, talk about my education, and then talk about why this native knows all about San Diego because of the history here in this town and my love for America's finest city. So let's head over to my preschool to start talking about how I grew up in Mira Mesa starting at 3 years old. We're starting off at the first place of my educational journey here in San Diego, and I was only 3 years old. I started going to preschool way early. It's now called Child Time, but back in the day it was Palo Alto Preschool, and I did not have a good experience whatsoever here back in the day. I only remember two things. One, the first thing was the teacher making a big deal about me having a slight accent, a slight Filipino accent, which is a driving force of the reason why I wanted to shove it in that teacher's face and everybody else, because I'm proud of my culture, proud of being a Filipino American, and that's why I was so driven to learn Tagalog and understand Tagalog my whole life, because my parents speak a mix of English and Tagalog in the household, and I've always understood it, but I never actually spoke it. I'm not perfect at Tagalog by any means, but I definitely understood it my whole life. I did spend preschool here. And then number two, so back then the Mira Mesa Mall, which is right here, they used to parade us around in the Mira Mesa Mall, and I remember one of my teachers forcing me to put on makeup and be a clown in this parade. And I freaking hate clowns, and I was just traumatized over that. So up until this day, I hate clowns, and the reason why I speak Tagalog is because of the incident here. My mom and my dad really hated that. Until this day, I really don't like that. They said that, oh, you have a slight accent, you should speak English more to your son in the household, because I believe that everybody that is bilingual, trilingual should learn. Look at other countries over in Spain. Kids know upwards to 5 or 6 different languages. Here in the US, we're lucky to know 2. Speak to your kids the way you want to speak to your kids. Raise your kids with the language that you were brought up in and the language you want them to learn more about. One place that I spent 8 years of my childhood was right behind me. This is Hickman Elementary School, home of the Hickman Hawks. I actually started school really early, so I didn't flunk out of kindergarten. I had to take kindergarten 2 years because I was right on the border of the cutoff date. I had kindergarten twice, same teacher, Miss Swanson, and I still remember every day coming to this playground at the end of school and waiting for Jaycation to come here and pick me up, because Jaycation worked nights when I was a kid. So from 4 to midnight, he worked over at UCSD at the San Diego Supercomputer Center, and my mom worked during the days. So my dad would pick me up from school every day, which was awesome, and drop me off at my grandpa, my Lolo's house, which was just down the road across from Mira Mesa Boulevard. In the 8 years I was here as a Hickman Hawk, I really didn't like going out. Actually, I was the opposite of a world traveler back then. I didn't want to go to 6th grade camp. I didn't want to go to Balboa and Old Town and explore. I was really not wanting to leave the house at all, or even go to school. I hated school, to tell you the truth. And I still remember one of my core memories of being in front of the news cameras here. Channel 10 came here on the first day of school and had a nice close-up of me, of baby JJ in kindergarten attending his first day of class. And I remember crying because I didn't want to go to school. That just really established my hate for school. Yes, I did spend 8 years here up until 6th grade. Back then 6th grade was still elementary school. What I remember here was Jaycation coming here, picking me up in our Toyota Camry. We had our first CD player on the Toyota Camry, listening to the classic Queen Volume 2, and that's why I loved the Bohemian Rhapsody so much, because of that CD. And then I remember buying my first ever cassette tape, Regulators, Nate Dogg and Warren G, and I played that all the time. That was my formative years here in Hickman. I really wasn't an explorer back then. Just up the street from Hickman Elementary School is Challenger Middle School, where I spent 7th and 8th grade here in Mira Mesa, and it was my adolescent days. I discovered Blackstreet, no diggity. I was wearing Nike berets, nylon Nike jackets, baggy pants. They were all in style at the time. The only things I really remembered here in Challenger Middle School was my Avid class that really helped set me up to think about what college I wanted to go to. It was always going to be SDSU. I still remember having mentors like Mr. Gapusan and Mr. Estrada, who are Filipino American, and they really helped cultivate me in learning more about the Filipino culture and the Filipino American culture, and that kind of led me down the path to discovering my roots and just being proud of being Filipino American. I always remembered my PE class. I made some great friends here. Also remember really sucking at basketball here at Challenger Middle School. And the one and only class I ever failed was here in Challenger Middle School, and that was French class, where I got a D because I sucked at speaking French, and for some reason I wanted to take French back then. During these years, I became even more of a bigger Padre fan and San Diego Chargers fan and Lakers fan. I mean, I already was repping a lot of that gear, but I was repping the Chargers stuff really hard around that time. It just started raining, and thank God they put rooftops over here on the parking lots at my high school, Mira Mesa High, which is the next school I attended for 4 years. This is where I spent a lot of my teenage years hoping to get to San Diego State, which ultimately I did. I was very serious about my grades and focusing on baseball here in Mira Mesa. I wasn't a partier. I wasn't really a big socializer in high school. All I cared about was getting good grades, and I graduated with honors. I had over a 3.67 GPA, I believe. Dad-cation always picked me up every day after school over here. I still remember him taking me out of school to see my idol, Tony Gwynn, at the Costco in Carmel Mountain, where he was signing his book, The Art of Hitting. I still remember that, about 14 years old. And Dad-cation was the coolest dad because he would get me out of school during the World Series and during playoff games so I could actually attend the games. That was really big reason why I am a Padre fan till this day, is because of Dad-cation and Tony Gwynn and playing baseball here for the Marauders. I made a lot of lifelong friends here that I still talk to every day here that went to Mira Mesa High. I'm a proud Marauder. Glad I played 3 years JV and one and a couple of months in varsity, and I was the JV captain my junior year and also won best defensive player on the team. I never really got into trouble, but this is the main office, the principal's office, and I never really went there because I got in trouble. But back in the day, they didn't have this 2-story building. It was all bungalows, and that's where I attended a lot of my classes. League champs. We do have a few MLB players, but they don't ring a bell. And there's the Marauder sign right there. I still remember my senior project being about my baseball experience, and this field is so much nicer than it used to be. It even has a fence. I would have dinged a few home runs here because back then they didn't have that right field 300-foot sign. I would have had at least 4 or 5 home runs. I spent my 4 years here playing ball, and I did play my senior year. I hit an average of .465 my senior year, although I only had limited at-bats. My junior year was my best year. I was a closer as well as the captain of the JV team and best defensive player playing center field out in the outfield, and I stole a lot of bases. I was pretty fast. But back then, this was not this nice. They didn't have these backstops this nice. They didn't have fences. Field wasn't as manicured. It looked like there were gopher holes out in right field. That's why I was surprised that I played such a great defense, because I had to defend myself from the ball bouncing weirdly. So I think that's why I got good at playing defense. But this was a big part of my baseball journey, playing, and I met a couple of my friends playing baseball in these 4 years here that I grew up playing, from t-ball all the way till adult league. Actually, I played a little bit of adult league in my 20s. Growing up, the reason why I love shopping is because Mom-cation used to always take me to UTC, but she also used to take me to this Target after she'd get off work. And there was a Toys R Us where that Hobby Lobby is now, and that Toys R Us was like my freaking favorite place in the world. You could ask Mom-cation and Dad-cation. I always tried to go to that Toys R Us and get something new. Every day after school, Dad-cation would stop by the 7-Eleven before we go home, the 7-Eleven off Camino Ruiz. and I would always get a Slurpee. Back then, this is too small for me. I used to get the medium one, and I used to mix the blueberry. Sometimes I was in the mood for the Coca-Cola one. That's right, I got the Coca-Cola Slurpee. Or most likely I'd get a cherry one. So it's either cherry and blueberry mix or one or the other. I loved getting the chili cheese Fritos. They didn't have chili cheese Fritos this time around, but I got the Flamin' Hots. Back then, I used to love the Flamin' Hot fries, which they still do have until this day, and the Apple O trolley rings, those green Apple O's, the sour ones. That's why I love sour candy till this day. So every day after school, I used to go to the 7-Eleven. It's a wonder why I love sweets. 7-year-old JJ would be feasting with these three. This was my after school meal for so many years. I ain't gonna lie, even up until high school, Jaycation still got me these personal pan pizza slices. Back then, you couldn't pick them up over at Target and just grab them to go. You'd actually have to call the Pizza Hut number. The Pizza Hut Jaycation used to go to is right next to the old Save on Drugs in the Mira Mesa Mall. It's now Sakuna. It's that all-you-can-eat sushi place. It used to be the Pizza Hut. The Pizza Hut has since moved next to Cotihan, still in the Mira Mesa Mall area, but it's near the street. And Cotihan used to be Alberto's, and it used to be on the corner. I grew up eating either Pizza Hut personal pan slices or carne asada quesadillas or cheese quesadillas. As Jaycation, he'll tell you. And after school, I would get myself a medium Slurpee. Oh yeah, still how I remember it. So cheesy. Love the pepperoni. Pizza Hut, I love you. And don't forget the Fritos. I love the chili cheese Fritos, but when my stomach could handle it back in the day, I used to eat those fries, those Flamin' Hot fries. That right there is heaven. Fritos, the reason why I love chips. So good. What's up, Jaycation?
Hey, what's up, Jaycationer?
Let's turn back the clock. We're talking about my schooling, Hickman Elementary. Every time you'd pick me up, you'd buy me lunch. Where would you get lunch?
Pizza Hut. Personal pan pepperoni.
Never cheese, pepperoni.
Never cheese, pepperoni.
How much was it back then?
$2.15. Well, it started at $1.90. It went up to $2, then $2.15.
You know it's $7.89 now?
My God. But it might be bigger than before, though.
And you have to get it at we'd wait 15 minutes, right?
Yep.
And here you just get it at Target in the front now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Well, there's another Pizza Hut by...
You can get it there too.
Yeah.
How about 7-Eleven, man?
7-Eleven, the, what do you call that drink?
Slurpee.
Slurpee. The blue one and the red one.
See, he knows. What else? What kind of food would I get at 7-Eleven?
That Mexican taquitos.
The taquitos and the nachos.
The nachos.
How about the chips? What chips did I like? The Flamin' Hot.
Fritos.
Flamin' Hot fries and the Fritos.
The Fritos. Yeah.
Oh, how about Alberto's? What did I order as a kid at Alberto's before the California burrito got popular?
Quesadilla.
Just cheese.
With cheese.
That's it.
No carne asada, no nothing.
So that's why Jaycation is the way he is. Mexican food and pizza. Because that's all you fed me.
My fault.
And you
can blame me.
And you picked me up every day from elementary school onto high school, bro.
Exactly. I used to
work nights.
Work nights, so I'm available to pick him up during the day.
There you go. Jaycation's walk through memory lane.
Yes, sir.
Well, there's a little walk down memory lane. I am very proud to be a San Diego native, born and raised here. Mira Mesa for most of my life. Hopefully you guys know a little bit more about me and why I eat what I eat, do what I do, and was raised the way I was raised. And if you want to see me do more get to know me videos like this, I'd like to take you on a tour of San Diego State University, my college, and show you my career before YouTube with the Chargers. Let me know what type of content you want to see on Jaycation San Diego. Comment down below. We're doing San Diego Saturdays, one video a week at 9 a.m. Pacific time, so please check it out. Subscribe to the new channel. Check out my main channel, Jaycation, and we'll see you in the next one. And when you're looking for your next trip, don't look any further than San Diego. See you next time, guys.